The boy who was exhumed after 30 years. A true story in Saudi Arabia. In a city in Saudi Arabia, authorities decided to build a road that would serve the public interest, as it would greatly shorten the distance to another city. During the construction work, they encountered an old Qabristan cemetery. They went to court to ask for a ruling on what should be done with the graves. They also consulted the scholars of that region regarding the exhumation and relocation of the graves to another place, especially since shortening the road would save hundreds of thousands of Saudi riyals. The scholars concluded that it was permissible to exhume the graves and rebury them elsewhere. The cemetery had not been used for many years, and the last burial there had taken place about 30 years earlier, as there was no more space. While removing the remains, they came across one grave that contained a young boy. His shroud looked as if he had been buried yesterday. When they uncovered him, his body was almost untouched, as though he had just been laid to rest. They asked when the last person had been buried there, and they were informed that the last burial had indeed been 30 years ago. They were greatly surprised and began searching for his family. He had an elderly father. They went to him, informed him of the situation, and asked whether his son had been buried there. The father confirmed that it was his son. They asked him what his son used to do in his life, because his body was preserved as if he were sleeping. His face looked beautiful and radiant, and a pleasant fragrance like musk was coming from his body. The father replied that his son was a simple person. He was not famous or well known. However, while he was alive, he was deeply connected to his Lord. For every prayer, he would call his father so they could pray together, especially the Fajr prayer. One day, Allah took his soul, and his father was deeply saddened. They told the father what they had seen and brought him so he could see his son. The father began to cry and thanked Allah that after 30 years, He allowed him to see his son again, as if he were still alive. Allah does not only look at the big deeds that people see, He looks at sincerity in the heart. Therefore, do not underestimate any good deed. A sincere prayer, a small charity, a kind word, a step toward the mosque. Perhaps that small deed will be your salvation with Allah. May Allah make us among those who do good deeds with sincerity and grant us a good ending. And Allah knows best.